Hey guys, it's John and Shannon from the DIY Couple, where we make videos about becoming the best versions of ourselves.
Today we're going to be doing a reaction video. We're going to be looking at our 2019 goals and going over whether we accomplished what we set out to do. One of the things we realized is that John and I love to set goals towards the end of the year, but we rarely actually go back and audit ourselves and determine whether or not we accomplished what we set out. So we thought that this would be good to do a little bit of reckoning to see if we didn't accomplish something, why not? And if we did accomplish something, why? And we want to do this in advance of setting our 2020 goals to see if we can set more strategic objectives.
So we're going to watch the video along with you guys, and we're going to be commenting on our video, talking about what we did this year and what we didn't, and it should be fun. So let's get started.
Hey guys, it's John and Shannon.
First of all, we've lost weight since I think I've lost weight. I look weird in this video. I look like I gained weight or something. I don't
You
know.
were a little tired when we filmed this. I think this was like a forced film.
Yeah, I feel like I was exhausted.
So one of my resolutions in 2019 is to eat a raw vegan diet.
Well, let's see. I did do that for the first 3 or 4 months of the year. And I was feeling really, really good when I did that. But I covered that on this channel. We made lots of videos about that.
Yeah.
And I stopped because I didn't feel like it was sustainable. I felt like it was too expensive and a little bit too hard to coordinate, but I do feel best when I'm eating that way. And so I think what I want to do in 2020 is try to eat raw for defined periods. Like I'll eat raw over the summer or something like that, when fruit's in season and when it's a little cheaper and things like that. But definitely, I still feel really good about that resolution, and I still feel like it was like a good learning experience, because I think it helped me realize that I like eating that way, but I probably don't want to eat that way all the time.
Yeah, so I don't think it was a goal not accomplished. It was a goal not worthy of accomplishing. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah, but let's take the lesson though that some of the things you start out really gung-ho with at the beginning of the year naturally fall off by the end of the year.
Right. In 2019, we're going to be focusing a lot on our branding and on our social media, YouTube kind of online presence. So we have another video describing this, but we're changing some of our branding for this YouTube channel and a couple other things to kind of reflect what we want to do and where we want to go. So I would say we didn't really do this exactly. We did change our branding a little bit. I would say that 2019 was not the best year for us in terms of video uploads and frequency. We took some time off not uploading for like 3 or 4 months in the summer for not really any good reason. I think we were moving and whatever else, but we wanted to do a big branding push.
I got really busy.
You were busy at work. We wanted to do a big branding push in 2019, and I think we didn't really do that. But what we have done recently is recommit to filming videos consistently. We've been doing that for the past 2 months or so. I think we've made more videos in the past month than we have in like a year, and that's really good. So I would say that this is still something that we want to do and talk about a little bit more, our own branding, logos, colors, our presence in other social media stuff besides just YouTube. You've done a great job, I think, curating our Instagram content, which has been really great. But yeah, I would say that this goal is... I would say that it's great for us that we continue doing the channel and that we're coming up with new ideas and new content and new things I want to share with you guys. Like the financial stuff has been really big this year. But I would say that next year I would like to continue, and we'll have a resolution, in our future video about that. I would like to continue this branding journey, if you will, on our channel.
Yeah, I'm going to mark that as a not accomplished.
I'm going to say it's a not accomplished, yeah. Another resolution that I have is working on my businesses. So I am starting a real estate fund, and I've kind of set up a lot of the legal work for that this year and did a lot of preparatory work for that this year. But in 2019, I really want to go deep on that. So I think 2019 is going to be a huge year for me professionally in terms of my real estate fund, my construction company, my management company, my consulting stuff. I'm really going to focus on that in 2019 because I had... So 2019 was definitely a big year for me professionally, but not exactly in the way that I described. So I did do a lot of work with my construction company, a lot of work with the management company, and I made a lot of money or at least I made more money than I thought I was going to make doing consulting and legal work. But one thing I didn't do is spend a lot of time doing stuff for the fund, which is what I mentioned before. And for different reasons, I don't want to get into exactly some of the specifics of that for not like because I did something wrong, just because of like legal regulatory reasons. But
You're not supposed to solicit.
right. So
you're not when you're actively fundraising. You're not allowed to talk about your active fundraising efforts.
yeah, but I did a lot of work in 2019, a lot of real estate work. So my business partner and I bought a ton of properties. We renovated a ton of properties. I think our construction company, on a revenue sense, made almost $1 million or over $1 million in 2019, which is huge. I did not anticipate that would happen. That doesn't mean that we made a lot of profit, but we certainly had a lot of money that went through the business and did a lot of work, a ton of work. My management company was successful also. My legal work and kind of consulting work was successful. So I would call this goal, the main goal that I described about the fund, was definitely not achieved. That was a huge disappointment for this year, and I can really only blame the fact that I was busy with other stuff for it not happening. But the other goals that I talked about, professionally, growing, changing, were achieved. So I would say basically no, not achieved, because the thing that I described in this video didn't happen, but all the other ancillary things around it did happen, and I am still doing the fun stuff, and that's going to be a huge component of my 2020 for sure, absolutely 100%. So this goal is still relevant for me, but I feel like I did have a very successful professional year, but I wish it would be more successful. So we'll see.
This is not a solicitation. This is not, you're not being requested for money.
Another one of my goals for 2019 is to save about 80% of my salary. So this is something that I've been focused on a lot over the last several weeks, but John and I are on.
I'm going to call that a no. We didn't save 80% of my salary, but I think that we saved about 50 or 60% of my salary.
Yeah, I think one thing that we didn't talk about at all in this video that happened in 2019 is that we bought a house for ourselves to live in, not as a real estate investment play. And that definitely impacted our savings goals for this year. So we didn't even know, we were not in the market for a house. We just bought the house in the middle of the year, very unexpectedly. So we had to put a lot of money as a down payment, more than we thought we were going to spend this year, plus the renovations. You changed jobs, so we didn't know.
I took like a month off and we traveled a little bit.
We didn't know that was going to happen in the end of 2018, so that was an impact. We had to fire one of our houses, and it was expensive to renovate it, and we didn't get rent for a long time. We're getting money from our insurance company, but that's kind of a whole other issue. I can go into a whole video about that. But so those, I would say, were unexpected financial things, good and bad, that happened to us this year. So that definitely impacted the amount of money that we're able to save. But the last 3 or 4 months have been, I would say, very successful in terms of meeting our financial goals, and we're hoping to continue that into 2020.
And I think that the two biggest successes on this money sort of goal is that I automated our savings plan. So I, enrolled to just max out my 401k. I set it up so that I had all sorts of automatic transfers so that the money doesn't even hit my paycheck before it gets diverted to 401k and 529 for our future unborn child, and our Vanguard accounts and a debt pay down account.
Yeah.
So
we'll do a whole video on automatic saving. Yeah.
We'll do a whole video on that, but that was a huge innovation so that I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
And the other part was embracing Dave Ramsey and deciding that we are going to get really serious about debt pay down, and that was huge for us, which we have a lot of ideas.
I would call this goal super ambitious for 2019. We didn't achieve what we said that we would achieve, so we failed in that, but we saved a lot more than I think we have in previous years, and given the sort of financial stuff that happened to us, I think we still did okay, and I think we'll do an even better job in 2020.
B plus and minus.
Journey. So our large, crazy goal is to be able to retire if we wanted to within 10 years. Neither one of us actually wants to retire in 10 years, but we'd like to have the optionality to do that. And so what that means for us is to have enough passive income in 10 years to cover our living expenses. And we're planning on starting a family in the future, so we're budgeting for that as well.
Oh, well, that itself is its own. I thought we were going to
we can get into
to that later, but
so we're planning on starting a family in the future, and we want to be able to budget enough to have, in 10 years, to have enough passive income to cover the living expenses of us and others. And so we need to save really super aggressively in order to do that. So John is really focused on growing the top line in terms of revenue.
So this is interesting. I forgot that we had written this down, but we wanted to make these contributions. And I'm looking through them here. We did do the backdoor Roth IRA for both of us at the maximum amount. We are on track. I think there's one more pay period in the year to hit the $19K to my 401k, the max there. Your self-directed 401k, we never got that set up.
We didn't do that, and we didn't do the entirety of the Future Kid 529. We did some contributions to that, but not
I think
all
we've
of
only
them.
put in about 1,500
Right.
to the 529. We decided to sort of scale that back when we decided to focus on our own debt pay down. So in total, I would say we came up about 10 grand short. So that's pretty good. We set the goal of, we wanted to save other,
These are tax advantage.
these are just the tax advantaged accounts. We wanted to save more, and we did actually save more in other accounts. But of this goal that we had extracted, we got about 31,000 out of 41,000. So that's pretty good.
Top line in terms of revenue and bringing in more money. And I'm at a high paying job already, and I'd like to focus on the bottom line, playing defense in terms of saving and making sure that we're investing as much of our money as we possibly can. So I'm going to be in 2019 implementing a lot of new habits and hacks in terms of
This is interesting too. It looks like we were really focused on increasing our deductions last year, and you did a tremendous Herculean effort to do a better job of capturing all of the eligible deductions on our
We did a much better
tax
job
return.
preparing our taxes in 2019 than we have in previous years, because we were really trying to maximize our deductions and our expenses and all sorts of stuff, not in a illegal way, but just trying to recognize them, because we spent a lot of money. Because I work for myself, I spent a lot of time in a car, and I use part of the house as an office, and now we have the channel, and we use part of the house as a filming studio, and we often discuss stuff that's going on in our lives work-wise at dinners, and take people out to dinner and all sorts of stuff. So we really weren't recognizing that appropriately before this year, and I think we could still do a better job next year, but we did a much better job in 2019 than we had in previous years. It was a humongous time suck, so we got to get better about that, but we did do a good job on that for sure.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Consistent a little bit with the YouTube stuff is I want to do a lot more self-improvement stuff. I'm not really sure exactly what that is, but I started lifting at the end of 2018, and I'm going to be documenting that here on this channel, so gaining muscle and getting stronger, and I want to continue doing that. I think I want to do also maybe some like personal challenges, like I've been on reading a lot, thinking a lot about like meditation and self-awareness, and I want to really dive into that and document it here. I've been thinking a lot about ways to improve myself in, kind of having lost a lot of weight, and eating better gave me a big sense of control over my food and my diet, and I want to continue that. I want to do that in different aspects of my life, like with mental health, and just seeing different ways that I can improve myself So that's definitely a big success. I started lifting at the end of 2018, and I lifted very consistently throughout 2019. I think I missed maybe a handful of my scheduled workouts throughout the whole year, but I lifted 3 times a week, and something I didn't, I mentioned that I wasn't sure what form the self-improvement stuff would take. One form it took was running. So I started running in May of this year, and I ran 3 times a week, more or less, and I lifted 3 times a week. And I did that almost every week. I think there may be 3 or 4 weeks when I didn't do that. The most recent being last week because we were on vacation. But that really changed my body. I documented a little bit on this channel. I wish that I would have done a little bit more, but I'm hoping to continue that this year. I've learned a lot about lifting and eating and all sorts of stuff that I want to share with you guys who are on a dieting and weight loss journey. But that was a big success. I'm really, really excited that I kept up with that, and I feel like I have a lot of momentum going into 2020 doing that.
I am so proud of you. So in terms of New Year's resolutions, this is always people's number one, right? And so often people start the year with all the best intentions and then fall off the bandwagon. So what do you think was the key to sustaining this goal and seeing it through?
So I think a lot about habit forming, and one of the big things for me was I thought that if I did something for 3 weeks, then it would become a habit. And so for those 3 weeks, the first 3 weeks that I did it, I really focused on doing it. And after I did it for, I'd say 3 weeks, it just became something that I expected to do. And another component that I think is great about exercising is that you are progressing and you feel good when you're done with it. So I don't really like the feeling of running while I'm running or lifting while I'm lifting. But after I'm done with it, I feel great. Like I feel like I've accomplished something. And what I started to do is keep track of kind of my like best whatever, like my fastest mile, my fastest 5K, the most weight I've lifted in a certain exercise, and to be able to see those numbers go down or up, relative to what they are is really exciting. It feels like a really tangible, easy way of self-improvement. I think if you are learning a new skill or if you're trying to get better at something, it can be a little bit hard to track that progress because it's a little bit ephemeral and you're not really sure, how you're progressing. But with something like, the time that you run a mile, it's very easy to say like, oh, I ran a mile this year faster, or, this month faster than last month. Similar to weight loss, like I weigh less than I did a month ago. And that's really inspiring. And so I feel my life is, I love to progress and get better. And that's kind of what this channel is about. So the idea of like, slipping back is really hard. So I just, even for the sense of like, I don't want to run a slower mile. I don't want to lift less weight than I lifted. That's hard. And it's always nice to say, like, if you're progressing that way, for me, because I've never really been in shape, I can say like at almost any day of my life, I am the fittest I have ever been today. And that's a cool thing to say.
That's really cool. I'm really proud of you, babe.
Here on this channel, so gaining muscle and getting stronger, and I want to continue doing that. I think I want to do also maybe some like personal challenges, like I've been on reading a lot, thinking a lot about like meditation and self-awareness, and I want to really dive into that and document it here. I've been thinking a lot about. So that's something that I didn't do as much, certainly not the documenting part, but it's something that I thought about a lot. So we went on this great yoga and meditation retreat or excursion, if you will, in Nepal. That was part of our honeymoon, and that was super great. I did yoga basically for the first time, multiple times a day for an entire week. And I thought a lot about mental health this year. We both did. And I made that a priority to recognize my own shortcomings and things like my own anxiety and depression tendencies. And that awareness has been very, very helpful to me, just knowing how I respond to certain situations, just another self-improvement component of my life. And I'd love to talk about that more candidly in this channel. I've talked a little bit about, depression and anxiety in a startup or working as an entrepreneur. But even though I didn't really do challenges like I suggested about like meditation or, whatever, it was a big component of my year, definitely thinking about it. So I would call these goals more or less successful. I could have documented them more and maybe done things a little bit more in a purposeful, like listed way. But I definitely am glad that I did that work in 2019.
We both did some therapy in 2019, yep. And I think I did more than you, but that's, I think we both benefited from that.
I think the biggest thing though is that we want to start a family next year. So that was successful. We did that one.
A resounding success. So we got pregnant really quickly. We got pregnant on the first try, essentially. The first cycle that we could have gotten pregnant, we got pregnant. Yeah. And I think that...
We started in August, or trying in August, and that was when we got pregnant.
So I think that part of the reason that was successful, obviously fertility is a crapshoot, and there's often lots of things that you can do that are in control, that are not in your control. But I think some of the things that were in our control was that we lost weight prior to the pregnancy. That's known to help increase the chance of success. And we timed my cycle. So you had been so I had been off of hormonal birth control for many, many years because I felt better off of it. And we had been just using other forms of protection. And so I felt like being in touch with my cycle. There's a whole video we have on our channel about tracking
I think it's one of our best videos. I really love that video.
It didn't get very much traction, but I think it's one of our best videos. Just knowing like when I was ovulating and being able to feel that in my body from having done the tracking was so great because I was like, now it's time. We got to do it now. Yeah. And yeah, no, it was.
So this was an A.
This was an A+.
This is kind of a binary one, but yeah.
We did it.
Yes or no, and it
I'm
was
pregnant.
yes.
We're having a baby in May.
I think we want to diversify our investments.
Yeah.
We have a lot of real estate investments. We want to invest a little bit more broadly.
So that was successful. We
Yeah.
did that. We bought more real estate this year, but you were able to structure it in a way where we didn't really.
We bought more real estate, but we didn't really put any money into it,
Right.
except for this house. So again, kind of with the financial goal of saving Shannon's salary, we ended up using some of the savings to buy this house that we live in now. So that was more real estate investment per se.
Although your
But-
house is not an investment.
Well, yeah, our previous house has now become an investment because we're renting it out. But we did through our retirement accounts, through our tax advantage accounts, invest more broadly in the stock market, and that's great.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that goal. For years, we had been investing all of our money into real estate,
Yeah.
and this year we really did a good job of putting money into the market.
We have a bunch of travel plans. Not really resolutions, but we just are going to be traveling. So where are we going?
I'm
India.
going to India. I'm going to France with my girlfriend.
I'm going to Salt Lake City, Denver.
I'm going to Mexico with my mom.
Yeah.
It's gonna
India is our big one. It's kind of our honeymoon. So all those things happened. India was awesome. We made a video about part of our India trip. We still have to kind of edit together the rest of our India trip. But
We also went to Nepal, which
went
I
to
didn't,
Nepal.
didn't know we were going to do at that point. We went to California, Texas.
Yep, we went to. You went to Mexico. You went to France.
Paris
To
with my
Paris.
girlfriends.
I went to Denver and Salt Lake City. We did a couple trips around town. I went to Maine for a weekend, which was very fun.
That's fun.
So we had a really fun year of traveling because we knew that we were going to start a family at the end of the year, and I think that our travel schedule for next year is going to be at least more limited in terms of adventure stuff. We might travel a lot to visit family with the baby, but we're probably not going to do a lot of just the two of us type romantic trips that we did this year. Although we do have a crazy trip planned, which we will, I think, discuss in a different video. I think it's deserving of its own video because of kind of the timing of it, but we'll get into that. So we're going to be documenting that a lot. We're probably going to come back just like fully fledged Buddhists, so. So that didn't exactly happen.
That didn't happen at all.
That didn't exactly happen. In fact, it was more of like a Hindu trip, I would say, than Buddhism. We kind of like Buddhism got like a bad rap when we were there, but that's like another component of it. But that didn't really happen. Just
Get
what's going to
ready.
happen. Just get ready. You want to lose some more weight, right?
I want to lose some more weight. Well, that's I think entail with
Okay.
the
Raw food.
I feel best when I'm eating raw food, and so I think that
I did lose more weight.
You did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was really quite thin during the summer when we started trying
You
to
lost
take-
more weight, and then we got pregnant, and so gained weight with the
Right.
pregnancy. But that was successful.
Yeah, we have a whole video on that too.
eating raw is gonna help me get down to my goal weight. I'm gonna do a video about it, but basically I was down very close to my goal weight in the middle of the summer in 2018, June and July, and I've put on a little bit of weight since then. I had a pretty serious knee injury. I had an operation on my ACL and meniscus, and it's been a little bit of a challenging second half of the year for us.
Yeah.
But I wanna get back down to goal weight or close to it.
I think I got close to it. I don't think I got there, but I got close to it.
Yeah.
And document that. And I want to work really hard at work. I think this has been a really productive year for you, but partially because of my knee injury where I was having to do physical therapy for.
So that definitely happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked really hard.
Yeah, I think you did a great job. I think this is maybe your most successful professional year. I think you really took on a lot more responsibility at work. I think you love your new job.
I love my job.
You love the people that you work with, and you're doing really cool things. So I'm really proud of you for that. I think that's a big, like an A plus for last year.
Yeah, it's really interesting just being in a different job, and I liked my other job too, but for whatever reason, I think I just feel much more motivated and much more content with the type of work that I'm doing now. And I really love the people that I work for.
Yeah.
It's been really great. And so I find myself I probably work from 9 a.m. until 10 p.m. every day, and then I work on the weekends, most weekends.
Many weekends, yeah.
But unlike in previous years when I felt kind of upset by that reality, now I feel very driven and focused, and so the hard work isn't bothering me like it used to. It's feeling like productive and good, and I'm getting a lot of satisfaction out of it.
Another thing I want to do is I've just read an interesting book called it wasn't The Power of Habit, Atomic Habits, and I want to hack some of my habits for 2019. So a lot of this focus is on.
So I would say we did this to an extent.
Yeah. So with our finances, we made it all automatic, and
Right.
that was probably more of the product of reading a book called The Automatic Millionaire, which I think we should summarize for the channel because it's a great book.
Yeah.
But with the sleep, I remember we did some sleep habit hacking, but the power of my bad habits were just like too strong.
Well, I think I did my habits with exercising were effective.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. We had done. We were doing a really good habit of going over our budget on a weekly basis, and we kind of went away from that when we bought this house. But I think
my work really ramped up.
and when your work really ramped up. But I think we need to get back to that in 2020. So I would say this is kind of like a C plus.
I think we need to move that date night where we go over. We the way that we were structuring it was actually really good in terms of like the potential for building a good habit, because we were sandwiching something that we had to do, which was going over our finances, with something that we wanted to do, which was going on a date. And so I would come home with a chocolate bar, which John was not doing bar lighting at the time, but he would still at the time rarely eat chocolate bars. He wouldn't buy them for himself, but he loved them. So I would come home, and we would on Friday nights go over the week's finances and categorize our expenses and talk about what we'd spent, et cetera, et cetera. It took about an hour to do it. And during that time, John would enjoy his chocolate bar, which was
Usually,
it's like part of the power of habit, or the Atomic Habits principle is like sometimes combine something you want with something you don't want. And then right after it, we would pay off a debt or move something to a savings account for like that bang for your buck feeling of greatness, and then we would go on a date to our favorite restaurant.
Yeah.
And that was great because we really looked forward to it.
I would say that we did that until May.
Yeah, we did a
right.
really good job
Yeah.
with that, and then I got really busy at work.
Yeah.
And then, but I think what we need to do is we need to move that to Saturday nights,
Yeah,
because
that's
I'm
what
so
we do.
often working
Yeah.
late on Fridays.
Yeah.
So this is just reminding me of what a great book this is, and we actually have a summary of Atomic Habits on the channel, but I realized that I don't think you've actually read
No, I don't
that
think I've read
book.
it. Yeah.
But that book is really in your wheelhouse. I think you should read that book this year and see what it does for you next year, because you're going to gravitate so naturally to the processes in there.
That will make those end goals inevitable, but like really small, like 1% improvements in making our lives better. So I'm gonna make a video about that, but I'm excited about trying to hack our habits in 2019 to get us to where we want to go eventually.
My dad is turning 90 this coming year, which is a huge milestone, so we're going to do a big thing for my dad, and I think it'd be a cool excuse to get a bunch of family together. So my dad did turn 90, and it was very fun. We didn't get a lot of family together because of a bunch of reasons and kind of the timing of stuff, but I went down to Florida where I grew up, and I had a great birthday with my dad, and he was super excited. We surprised him. It was really
And your
fun.
brother came.
My half brother came and his wife, and yeah, we have. It's just amazing that my dad has made it to 90. So I'm just constantly amazed at that. And next year will be his 91st, and he has no signs of slowing down. So I'm very excited about that. Dad might not have seen in a long time, or I might not have seen in a long time. So it'd be really awesome for me to reconnect with some of my family. We're kind of doing that right now, spending Christmas with my half brother and his family. We've never done that before, and I've been enjoying that. So that was really fun. We spent Christmas with my half brother in South Carolina. We hadn't done that before, and that was really great. We were going to go this year, but with the pregnancy and all sorts of other travel, we weren't able to go. I did spend some time with some family, and I'm going to be doing a whole video series about that. So it's not what you would expect, and that's going to be forthcoming on this channel. That's kind of a big secret that I've been keeping this entire year. So wait for that, but there's a little bit more to that story and what I said in this goal setting thing than is obvious, but yeah. And I've been enjoying that, so I think we're going to try to do if we can do more of that in 2019, that'd be awesome. I think we're gonna go to Disney maybe.
Yeah.
Don't tell them though. We did go to Disney.
We went to Disney
It
last
was
week.
great. We had a lot of fun. Star Wars Land is really cool, although we went to Disneyland, so the new Ride of the Resistance ride was not open, although it is open in Disney World. But
And I was unable to ride any of the rides because I'm pregnant, so that was a bummer. But
Oh.
you weren't going to go on the ride, and I
you forced me to go on the Millennium Falcon ride, which is really fun. I like that a lot. Very cool.
forced him to do what he wanted.
He won't watch.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a great year. We're
Really excited. We have a lot in plan. We have a lot in plan for this channel. So if you enjoyed our content in 2018, we're gonna have a lot more in 2019. So we did have more content in 2019. I don't know if we had a lot more, but we definitely had more content. We had really fun making the content that we did this year. I would say that 2019 was a very difficult year
It was
in
a
a lot
challenging
of
year.
ways for us because of some of the financial stuff that I mentioned before about the fire was a big, unexpected thing. Buying this house was a big unexpected thing.
Changing jobs was
Changing
a
jobs
positive
was
thing, but
good,
it was
but-
it was a stressful thing too, just
Yep.
because it changes stress, no matter if
Changes
it's
stress.
positive change or not.
And I think I was so busy professionally and stressed with that and all sorts of components to that. So I would say in the first 3/4 of the year, I would call 2019 one of our most difficult years, maybe ever together. Not that we had, not between us, just in the world.
Yeah,
But I would
the
say
fire
the
was really
last,
tough.
The fire was really tough. I would say the last quarter of the year, which corresponded to us getting pregnant, was amazing. I would say that was some of the last 3 months have been some of the best times because we're so excited about the baby. We're feeling really great financially. We're feeling really great professionally. I'm feeling great with my body and my weight loss and my strength and all sorts of stuff. So I would say 3/4 of the year were really tough for us unexpectedly, and the last quarter was awesome, also a little bit unexpectedly. So hopefully that last quarter will continue into 2020. We're going to be doing another video about our 2020 goals and resolutions, and then at the end of next year we'll do a video like this going through some of the goals that we did. We're going to be a little bit more thoughtful, I think, than we were at the end of last year. I think with some more tangible goals that we can say like yes or no. But we're going to get that video out soon.
And I want to do time-based, like, hey, this is the goal, this is when we're going to achieve it, and this is how we're going to do it.
Right. Until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear how you did with your goals in 2019. If you were successful or not successful, just share them. Tell me what they were, because I think being accountable is great. So if you start a habit of saying like, here are my goals for last year and here's how I made them or didn't make them, then maybe next year you'll be more likely to make those goals because you're going to do it again at the end of next year. So let us know. Like and subscribe if you like our content and want to see more.
And thanks for coming along with us on this journey as we seek to improve ourselves in little ways and, work towards self-betterment. Comment down below any of your tips and tricks and aspirations for 2020. And until next time, do well and always make things better.
Oh.